Hi and welcome to this video, and in this video I'll be talking about finances and specifically how my husband and I handled finances when we were dating. One thing I know is finances can be very tricky when you're dating and even when you get married, and some of the things you do when you're dating will create a foundation for how you will handle money when you get married. So that is why I feel it is important to just share. This is not like the standard. What we did is not like the standard, but some of the things we did, I believe, have really helped us when we got into marriage. And as you know, if you're new here, my name is Grace, and all I talk about here is things to do with creating a good foundation for marriage. And finances being a leading cause for divorce, it's important that you start well when you're dating. All right, that is why I'm talking about that. If you're interested in the kind of content on creating a good foundation for marriage and you've not yet subscribed, please make sure to subscribe. Give us hit the notification bell and if you like this video at the end, give us a thumbs up. All right, because that helps us to reach more people. So subscribe and share with a friend, and yeah, we'll be grateful. And thank you for all those who've subscribed already. Thank you for your love, thank you for the likes, thank you for the comments. And if there's any topic you'd want me to handle, make sure to just let me know in the comments or in my social media handles at Grace Kasanga. So I will just get straight to it. The first thing that we did when it came to finances is we were fairly transparent about money. The reason I am saying fairly transparent is because when we were dating, we did not share all about our personal finance and what we were doing with our money, right? So because according to like the previous video I shared about our journey when we were starting dating, we were both on unpaid internships. So as a friend, when I go for an interview, I would let him know. When he goes for an interview, he'd let me know. So when we got our jobs, we shared, hey, this is what I've been offered, you know, financially. So at least he had an idea on how much I was earning. I had an idea on how much he was earning. So that is what I mean by fairly transparent, okay? So when you're friends, it's easier to talk about, hey, by the way, this is how much I earn. Now, when you start dating, probably you've not begun the way we began when we were just on unpaid internships, right? You've probably started dating when both of you are working or you are stable financially because maybe you're in business or something else, right? You might not start outrightly saying, this is how much I earn, okay? Or this is the amount of loans I have. Like for me, I had a student loan. So he knew. When we were dating, he knew that I did my undergrad using HELB loan, and so I was paying that loan, okay? But like I said on the Before You Get Engaged series, by the way, if you've not watched it, make sure to watch it. I'll link it below. What I said there is, at some point, especially when you start working towards marriage and you start discussing the serious topics, that is your past, your goals and aspirations, when you start talking about children, when you start talking about in-laws, one thing you need to talk about is finances. And that is where you now talk about this. Don't bring this up in your the first few weeks of dating unless you're really rushing things, because if you bring it very early, you might be seen as a gold digger. All right, but before you get married, it's important you get to know the level of financial capacity your partner has and them to know where you're at, because you don't want to get married thinking that this person is stable, and then you realize they have actually sunk you deeper into loans because they are probably processing loans. And once you get married, your finances are intertwined. So you can't say his money, my money, her money, my money, right? So your finances are intertwined. Or you realize that some people they pretend they are broke when they are dating, you know, and then probably they are not broke, you know. Yes, your partner will be glad to know you're financially stable after, but you don't have to live such a lie. All right, so be fairly transparent of your financial capacity, not necessarily how you're using your money. Okay, just your level of income. But as I said, it is very tricky, so don't bring it up in your first few dates. Just when you now start discussing the serious topics, and you're now getting towards getting married. Okay, the other thing that we did about money is we stayed within our means. What I mean by this is we did not I really appreciate my husband for this. He did not pretend to be who he is not. He did not take me out on very expensive dates to impress me. We were just real, very real. And what we used to do, because we used to travel back home most of the times together in the bus, he would from the office now going back home, I mostly paid my transport because I knew I cannot burden him with just starting off on our careers. But when we would have a date, he most times used to pay for the transport. But sometimes he'd be he doesn't have, the money to do that, so I would still maybe pay for my transport, or sometimes we would split the bill, or sometimes we wouldn't even go to a hotel and all. Sometimes we would, especially during COVID, of course hotels were closed, but even with that, most of the times during COVID, what we used to do is just buy ice cream or yogurt and just take a walk around town. I just take a walk. So with that, it's not expensive. At that time we were both struggling financially, and we were also in the process of planning our wedding, so we were just living within our means. There are times we would have very, very simple and inexpensive dates, even just a picnic, and there are times we would even just exchange meals. Like during COVID, I would just prepare something, he prepares something, we come and share. I cooked this, he cooked that, and we just share. So we stayed within our means. What really breaks my heart is when I see a man paying an Uber for his girlfriend to go home, and he walks home, or he struggles the rest of the month, or you just pour all your money on this lady, and maybe the lady even walks out on you and goes to someone else, yet you have put all your money there, you have no savings. It's good to impress a lady, but just impress within your means. Okay, so we stayed within our means, and that I honestly just applaud my husband for that, because he didn't pretend. He didn't pretend to be all rich and all. No, he was just real. If today he doesn't have all the money to just pay everything, he'd just be like, what, today I'll be able to do this, I'll not be able to do that, but I really want us to go out, so I chip in where I'm able to, but not every time. Okay, because so the other thing that we did about money is we were not responsible for each other financially. What I mean by this is that when I'm broke, he wasn't, I made it clear, he was not supposed to support me financially. All right, it was not his responsibility to take care of me. If anything, I was still my parents' child. So if things would get really tough, things didn't get that bad, but if things would get very tough, I'd just go back home to my parents. All right, he shouldn't, until he married me, he was not responsible for me. Until I married him, I wasn't responsible for him. So I just made it clear. And why I didn't want him to support me financially is because I have seen where I had seen this, and I'd even been told, I think by my mom, that never accept a man's finances, because that can get really dark at times. For example, you accept to be financially supported by a man. Maybe he's buying your groceries, he's paying rent, he's paying your school fees, he's doing all these things for you. And then one day he says, we now have to move in. You have to move in because I cannot be paying two rents at the same time. And another thing why you have to do that is because if you refuse, then you have to return the money that I've been giving you. So now that becomes difficult because you cannot be able to pay back the money, right? Another thing, I have seen men who get very devastated because they have been supporting a lady financially and the lady walks out on them. Probably she finishes campus and then she just starts dating someone else. And I've seen even stories that have gone so dark to a point where the lady is even killed because a man feels, I have poured my money into this lady. I'm not saying and I'm not justifying what these men do, but I'm saying the frustration that comes with having supported someone financially. So for men, don't do what a parent should do. Don't do husband work when you're still a boyfriend. And for girls, don't accept a man's money, okay? Because you might get yourself in trouble. If what they are offering, you cannot, if someone is taking you to places where you cannot even afford yourself, then just think about it if they demanded. Yeah, so that is one thing I made clear, because there's a time when when I lost my job, I went into business, and then I got sick at some point, and I used up all my money on the meds, and then because I was on bed rest for some time, so I just became so broke. So I just made it clear to my boyfriend then, who is now my husband. I told him, I am broke, but I'm not telling you this for you to support me. And I wasn't lying to him. I told him, if you send me any money, just know I will never ever tell you if I'm broke again. So I'm just sharing so that I have someone to talk to, so that I don't crumble into the pressure. So he wasn't supporting me financially, I wasn't supporting him financially. Because another thing, ladies, you might find, or even men, if you're being supported financially by your partner, even if you see red flags, they might look pink or orange, or you might even ignore them intentionally, because this person is your sponsor. They are basically supporting you with everything, so you can't go anywhere. You have no place to live unless they give you something. Just learn to be independent, because if this relationship doesn't work, then you don't want to leave someone devastated. You also don't want to be left devastated. Be independent, be whole as a person, and don't depend on your partner financially until you get married. Okay? Yeah. So when you get married is when you marry your money as well. Anyway, I hope you've gotten the 3 points. A bonus for this is not about what we did financially, but 2 books that I feel are very key when it comes to finances. One book I read when I was dating, and I've gone back to the book. I even read it this year again, and that is The Smart Money Woman. if you are just desiring to get to know how to handle money, it's more like a novel, but it talks a lot about how to get out of debt, how to manage your money, the things you need to do. And the other book is The Richest Man in Babylon. It also has a lot of kind of stories. The first time I read it, I just read, I think, the first page, and I didn't understand it because I expected, you know, if it's a book about money, then you just start with the points there and then. But it is also talking, it starts out like a story about this person in Babylon, but it has a lot of nuggets about money. So even before you start dating, or if you're dating, and even when you're married, I know there are people who are married who watch this, make sure to read these books, The Richest Man in Babylon and also The Smart Money Woman. Those books have a lot of nuggets on finances, on how to handle money, how to get out of debt, how to just budget your money, savings and investments. Okay, yeah, read those books. I hope you get one or two things. I hope from what I've shared, for those who are dating, you've gotten one or two nuggets that you can apply in your own relationship. Thank you for watching to the end. I hope to see you in the next video. God bless you.